Listen,
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
we talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
There's no two human beings who I'd rather be talking right now more than Mr. Cartoons and Joe Kelly.
Yeah.
We just went through what I am defining as one of the most momentous days of my life, and I really, really mean that. And usually in part, it's partly because of Joe. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's right.
Because you won the World Series.
Congrats, Joe.
This is better to me personally.
Well, what are we gonna get? But Tunes is the guy who made this happen, and so in case people don't know, and they should know by that, I know they do know because it's been well documented all over the baseball world. Everyone who follows baseball isn't boring. That we had said if the Dodgers won the World Series, this is where you come in. Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
There you go. So that if you won the World Series, that we were going to get matching baseballs and boring tattoos. And you said there's only one person on the planet that you would do it with. That's Mr. Cartoons, which is the guy in the entire world. And thank you, Tunes, for doing this. And thank you. So I flew out from Boston. Joe flew out from Rancho Cucamonga or whatever you live.
To airport to
Van Nuys.
To Van Nuys, yeah.
All right. So, but listen, I would have gone from halfway around the world to do this, knowing what we experienced today, of getting these tattoos, of getting this experience. And Tunes, I just want to thank you both Joe and I. And I know that you were pulling for the Dodgers to do this, not only to have our presence here with you, but also because you're a big Dodgers fan, right?
That's right. Born and raised here. We want to see our team take it, as they did. And it was a pleasure to do this. All my bros were sending me that, you know what I mean? I was watching that footage and, just with the fellas, showing so much love for our mask and all that, man. I'm truly grateful.
Oh, unbelievable. And in case people don't know, that your mask was donned by a lot of the Dodgers players. It was all throughout the clubhouse. During the celebration of the World Series, your mask was everywhere, and it will continue to be everywhere. I mean, this is one of the great things. You are bringing, I'm not just saying this because you just brought life to Joe and myself, but you are bringing life to baseball, so thank you for that.
Honored.
So I want to go to when you just got this, you had the idea of the design, or an idea for the design when we came to the baseball. So once we know that we're going to do this, it's one thing. Then we're sort of, okay, now we're going to do it. And I don't have any tattoos. You have tattoos. But you had an idea of exactly what you wanted to do. I just want you to take me through the idea of what you wanted, how you envisioned it, what you expected, and then ultimately what it became. Because if you don't explain it the right way, I am going to explain the excitement that you have. But go ahead.
No, it's still one of the craziest days I've ever been a part of. And obviously the tattoo is one thing, but the experience is something that exceeded and went far beyond of what I could even dream of. Last night I was losing sleep. I was telling my wife, I was like effing jacked. Like my son was like, "Oh my God, it's Eminem!" Like he knows everything about the culture, right? Which is amazing. Wasn't born exactly in LA. I was born in Anaheim. I'm from the area. I'm playing for my childhood team, and growing up, in Anaheim and Corona, half of my family, hated me for a long time because I played against the Dodgers. They have Dodger tats. They're diehard. They bleed blue, and growing up in the community, and I was telling them earlier, like it's just the honor of them being here. Like I was nervous at first. Like take away the tattoo, just knowing, when you meet a great at anything, right? It could be anywhere from sports to, Jeff Bezos on Amazon. Like when you're able to be around greatness and pick up on things where you're like, you see these little moments here and like, that's why they're the great. You know, that's why he's the great. That's why, you know, Jeff Bezos is a billionaire. Like, there's certain things they do well, and there's a lot of similarities of why people who succeed versus, you know, people who could or don't take advantage of. And I was paying attention, you know, obviously here just want to, you know, shoot the shit, talk shop, but, you know, the detailed, the little things, you know, how not, I hate to say the word that, you know, everyone wants to be perfectionist, right? But I think it's impossible to obtain. You could get as close as you can to being perfect, but, you know, we're human beings. There's no such thing as perfect, but this is the damn near closest thing you could get to being perfect. And I knew, like, I told my wife, like, and I told you guys that, you know, from the moment I walked into the door, you know, first thing I noticed was like, holy shit, this is California. There's wind, but it was like a dang hospital. And you know, you go in the hospital and they have to keep everything clean. It was perfect. And I was like, when you meet someone great, they do everything in their life, you know, really well, and you'll notice that. And so, like I said, it's been a wild ride, and obviously, Cartoon being a diehard Dodger fan, and you know, I've been a fan of his since I was when my first skateboard, you know, 9, 10, and you could tell in my voice that it's just one of those things where I told people, like, no fucking way, man. Like, you get, like, I'm jealous. I was like, yeah, I would just love to just go hang out. Like, you know what I mean? But so the idea of the tattoo, and it carried us a long way. We ended up, you know, not myself, but a guy on my team, Brent Honeywell, saw the mask, and I was like, what's that from? Who is it? Like, I've seen it before. And he goes, here's the page. And I go, no way, dude, that's freaking Cartoon. He's like, huh? Because he's a redneck country boy. He's like, I just like the mask. And I was like, I just like the dude. And I was like, maybe he doesn't run his social media, but can you please message whoever's running the account from me? Can you please say Joe Kelly, you know, big fan, whatever, but it would be a pleasure to have the mask. I don't know how he wrote it because, you know, I don't look at his phone or anything, but you know, coming through, it was a blessing. They brought him to the clubhouse, and I was like, we're going to win the World Series. I believe this, but, you know, we're going to celebrate, and we're celebrating in the mask because these are freaking, this is what the culture is. You know, this is our fan base. This is what I grew up knowing. And so we wore the mask, and people were like, you know, where you get those, and it was just something that kind of carried throughout the playoffs, throughout the team, every celebration, you know, guys wearing them. And, you know, we were going to New York, and it was one of those things where it's like, we have to bring the mask. Don't forget your mask. And it's like, well, they're going to break in our bags. Like, well, we'll pack them. We'll make sure they don't break. And so we brought them to New York, celebrated with them. And, you know, I was thinking, obviously, about the tattoo. And I was like, I mean, this guy's just the most special human being. You know, forget the tattoo artist, but, like, to meet, you know, Cartoon in person and to see what kind of person he is, and, you know, to see the focus and, you know, how well he loves his friends, how well he loves his family, the way he talks about, you know, the people that mean a lot to him is something that, you know, inspires me because, you know, I don't have like a huge posse, right? You know, I try to stay loyal to the people that are closest to me and embrace them more. And to see how he treats other people. And, you know, I've met super ton of famous people, and not, it's just the truth, not everyone's obviously a great human being sometimes, or, you know, you don't really see their true colors. But and I know it's hard. I've met people before, and for me myself, I kind of sometimes will get a little standoffish. But I mean, I walked in here and I felt like it was you know, family. Like, at first I was nervous because I'm a fan, but like, it was just, it's almost like we've known each other forever. And so going back to the tattoo, man, it was like, all right, I want to mix the emotions of baseball, right? We had the mask carrying throughout the playoffs, and I've always been a big fan of, you know, the laugh now, cry later, smile now, cry later tattoo. And I was like, man, that's freaking perfect for the idea of the emotions of baseball, especially what I've been through personally. You know, like, I've never been the best player on my team, right? But, you know, I have my moments where I am. I have my moments where I'm the worst player. And that's the beautiful thing about, you know, being a baseball player. You have your highs, you have your lows, and the tattoo myself symbolizes, you know, the actual sport and the meaning, what it means to me. And like I said, there's been multiple times where I've been like, man, I've never bragged myself about like, man, I'm on a heater. Like I'm playing well. This is great. And then all of a sudden you come crashing down and you get humbled really quick. And so explaining it, thinking through my head, my wife, and she's like, that's brilliant. Like that's a great idea. I was like, well, I'll just shoot it and see what they think. And so like I said, you could be happy as you want before the game. You could go out and fuck it all up. And then all of a sudden, you know, people are booing you. You're driving down the street. Hey, Joe Kelly, F off. You know what I mean? So like, that's the purpose of like, you know, this is baseball in a nutshell. And I think it's for people to understand. That's why people fall in love with it. And you know, came in here and it's hard to explain to people what I witnessed. Like when you have time to be around greatness, just please slow down. Don't worry about anything else. Like see what makes them great. Focus on it. Like I'm sorry for you guys. Like, we were having a conversation when he was drawing it up, but I was just looking at him on the iPad. I was like, man, like look at the focus. Look at the intensity. Like, you know, the ability for people to do something great, talk to someone, and then come back. It's really hard to do because you could lose your momentum or whatever you're doing. You could lose your train of thought. But when something you do becomes as easy as breathing, you want to watch whoever's doing that thing do it. And if you can't do it or whatever, you could learn something. And you could, like I said, you could learn something from walking into this door right here and going, wow. This is the detail he has, the barber chair, like the Cortezes, like everything has a purpose and it's spectacular. And it's not because he's sitting here. I'll go tomorrow. I'll go home and tell my wife. She's like, shut up. I want to go to bed. I got 4 kids. But I'm like, no, you have to see the attention to detail throughout his life. It's incredible. Like he's obviously the best at what he does, but all the other little things he pays attention to the cars, the beautiful cars out there, man. Like, it's just super cool to see, and I'm probably gonna speak for him, but it's okay. Like, truly, thank you. Like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed for the piece of art that will be with me until I die. By the way, my wife, if I die young, sorry, buddy, but do not cremate me. I want to be buried, and I want to have this. Don't burn this beautiful piece of artwork, please.
You know, one of the things that, you know, there was many moments of the day that I'll remember forever, but Joe getting up out of the chair was, as I said, I'm not around Joe as much as his family, but I've been around Joe. I've never seen Mac that way, including I have been around Joe when he's won a World Series. And the emotion that he had coming out of the chair, and cartoons, like, I would just ask you this, is that this is a thing you have done probably more notable. You have had the privilege of being around the most notable people in the world. And I don't know if you always get that reaction, but I could see the gratification on your face too, to see Joe's reaction to it, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the best when, you know, someone that gets the piece really digs it, of course, you know what I mean? But this goes deeper to where, you know, this is for the love of the city, you know, the good times and the bad times in life, you know. I think everyone can relate, identify to that. But Joe killed it right now with everything that he said, man. I really appreciate it. And, man, these guys are champions, you know what I mean? That's why we're sitting in front of this print right here.
All right, well, so let it be said, let it be done. If Dodgers win another World Series, what are we doing? I mean, we got to listen. Like, you're the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to, like, conversation, when it comes to personality with the Dodgers, which, by the way, is the team that probably has the most personality in baseball. We have to think ahead, guys. We start thinking ahead. What are we doing? Let's go.
We have real estate left over. You can see something right here, perhaps.
Yeah.
I can look at it all day. I'm not gonna lie.
I know. Well, who would have thought, Joe, back when we hatched the Baseballs and Boring brand, you as the owner, the owner of the LLC, we would come to this moment where we would be sitting here with such gratification and honestly just such a impactful moment in our lives. So thank you so much.
Guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.